So I'm just going to share the presentation and hopefully that is showing up on the screen. Hamish, can you see that? Can you give me a wee thumbs up? Brilliant. Fabulous. So basically, thank you for coming along tonight to our webinar session with regards to returning to events. And tonight we're looking specifically at sportives and leisure rides.
Sorry, Norman.
Yep.
It's coming up a bit weird that it's not coming up as a full slideshow. It's showing your notes on the side as well. There you go. That's spot on.
Fabulous. Lucky I didn't have any rude notes there, so that's good. So basically, thank you very much for coming along. As you'll have seen in the notes, we are recording tonight's session so that we can share it with anyone that's not able to make it, and it will be up on the YouTube. So thanks for coming. I'm Morven and I'm the events manager here at Scottish Cycling, and helping us out tonight we've got Hamish Cowton, who is one of the club development coordinators. Some of you might know him anyways, so he's on this call tonight driving the technology and hopefully going to help us out a wee bit around some of the conversations and discussion. So the purpose of tonight really is to have a bit of a discussion with yourselves as the event organisers, as the people that are out there that are delivering these. At the outset, we don't have any right or wrong answers necessarily. We're here to help you guys think about events in your own setting, in line with the restrictions as we make our way out of the pandemic, and how you can make them work best for the events that you're planning on putting on. Very much still, it's an opt-in situation with regards to running events. So we're just here to be able to talk to you, to be able to talk to each other, and for you to ask us questions. So tonight, what we're going to do is we've got up to 60 minutes. Don't feel like you need to take the whole session. If there's only a couple of us, we might just have quite a quick conversation, but equally, we are here for the full time, so we can take as long as we need. I'll give you just a brief overview of the guidance as it stands, give a wee bit of an oversight of some training and CPD that we've got coming up for event organisers, and then we'll go into some discussion points, and that's where you're able to ask us questions, and please do talk amongst each other to get the most out of this, and then we can answer any questions that we need. So first up, in terms of those key guidance updates, obviously, there has been guidance changes today, but we don't yet have that information from Sport Scotland. So all guidance, when it is created, it goes from Scottish Government and then it goes to Sport Scotland, who basically sportify any guidance that's been issued on behalf of all sports. From there, it then comes to the governing bodies, and each sport will then specifically change that sport guidance into their sport. So hopefully by the end of this week, we'll be able to issue an updated guidance based upon what the case will be from the 17th of May. And from what was announced today, it does look quite promising that things will be increasing for us in terms of events. However, as it currently stands, up to the 17th of May and potentially beyond, depending on what we find out from this update, is that we can travel between level 3 areas for organised activity. So that's a real positive for us in events. It means that we don't have travel restrictions. We're also able to have competition events, again, as long as they are in those restricted formats. So for under 18s, you can have groups of 30 riders and there's no physical distancing at all during the activity, which is really positive. And currently, as I say, up until the 17th of May, as we know, as it stands, adults have got to be in a time trial only format. So for you as sportive and leisure organisers, it is something to be aware of. Currently, that's the situation. Hopefully that will change. However, if we do go back into level 3, this will be something that comes back in. So it is something to take good note of. And adults must physically distance at all times. Currently, the maximum number of participants is 200, and that does include all parents, guardians, volunteers, officials, and riders. So it is, again, just have that in the back of your mind that it's not necessarily 200 riders. You have got to think about all your hangers on that make the events happen. However, as I say, that is all subject to change following the announcement today, and we don't quite yet know what that will look like. However, we will keep everyone updated via the newsletters, website, and social media channels when that guidance changes, which will hopefully by the end of this week. So in terms of training and CPD, we've been working through these webinars across a lot of the cycling disciplines now. I think this is us onto our 4th one. And we still got a couple more coming up next week. We found this to be really beneficial just in facilitating those conversations and being here to answer any questions as they come up. Next big thing that we've got coming up is new event organiser training, which can be on the 31st of July. And that's really looking at a lot of those practicalities of organising events on quite a basic level. But it's a really good refresher, even if you are an experienced organiser. We're also then going to do an event management system troubleshooting session. For those of you that have used the British cycling system, it does take a wee hang of getting used to it sometimes. So we will be on hand. And again, there'll be loads of information put out in advance of that on the 9th of August with specific details. In terms of for volunteers, and this is sort of across the board for event volunteers, it is discipline dependent. There's different things happening and going on, and we've got these webinars which are taking place. But that's not to say that's the be all and end all of what will happen this year. And we are being quite reactive as we work our way out of the pandemic and taking heed of what we're being told on the ground, of what we're needing to look at to make sure that we do cover off the relevant things for each discipline, for each type of cycling event, and for each group of volunteer. And that's the formal bit of what we need to tell you. From here on in, it's a lot more of a facilitated discussion. So it's for you to ask questions of us, to ask questions of each other, and to get thinking about how you would apply these to your event. So we've kind of got a couple of little prompters around thinking about before the event. So that's everything that happens up until the event actually takes place. During the event, which is from when you arrive on site to start setting things up until you take away that last scrap of litter at the end of the day, and then all the post-event bits and bobs that take place. So what I think we might do is, Hamish, do you want to pause the recording for a little bit?